all the details about the organization, because QuickBooks is like a house that is supposed to have people. It's supposed to house something. So we want to bring in something, because if you look at our program here, it is telling us, let's set up your business. How do we set up our business? We put the liquid part of the shell. I am going to show you using the most simplest method that you can be able to understand even when you're alone. So I want us to create what we call a company file. And we are going to start with any kind of business. So answer some basic questions and you will do the rest. You can always make changes later. There is various options here. When you open this, you'll be able to see other options. There is this arrow pointing downwards, and there is this part here, start setup. So I would like to start with the most simplest part, that is start setup. So I will click that one. Now it is telling me the remote name could not be resolved. We can now create what we call the company, the business name. So my business is called Elex. I call it Elex Products Kenya. So that will be the name of my business, Elex Product Kenya. It is there. Because there is no business that doesn't have a name. Even if you're doing some project, it could be a wedding project. That is your business. It could be a construction project. It could be a livelihood project. It could be a food distribution project somewhere. So that is your business. So you can call it the way you want to call it. Now, the industry matters very much. What do we mean by the industry? For example, if you're building a house, which industry are you in? If you're building a house, or you normally build houses, which industry are you in?
Is it construction or what?
Yes, construction. Construction. If you shoot videos and you take photos, which industry are you in?
That's media.
That is media. That is correct. So there is no any business that doesn't have what you call an industry. If you are dealing with a hotel, you are in, for example, hospitality industry. You are in hospitality industry. If you are dealing with mobile phones, let's say, for example, you are selling mobile phones, you are in which industry? For example, you are in technological or in something like that, or ICT industry. So in other words, what I'm saying is that there is no business without a name. There is no business that doesn't have an industry. So we are supposed to define our industry, and QuickBooks can be able now to help us to choose the industry. For example, if I'm talking about Elex Product Kenya here, number one, for you to define the industry, you must understand what you are doing in that business. Elex Product Kenya. Let's say I'm selling something like computers, hard drive, and so forth. So help me choose the business. So we are going to select something close to what we are doing from the list. So we have the list here. There is accounting and bookkeeping. Let's say we are not doing accounting and bookkeeping. Advertising and public relations, agriculture, art, writing or photography, automotive sales or repair, church or religious organization, construction general contractor, construction trades. Here we have the rights of electrician. Then we have design, architecture or engineering. We have financial services and other accounting or bookkeeping. Hair salon, beauty, barbershop, Let's say, for example, computer normally falls in that category, computers and software. So you pick either that category specific to your business, or you pick something close to what you're doing. So we click OK. So that is the industry. The other part I want to say tonight, we have different types of business. If you register a business as an individual, you decide to register a business, you can register a business called sole proprietorship, a business owned by one person. That is sole proprietorship kind of business. If you're thinking starting of a business and you don't want anybody else, you are starting what you call a sole type of proprietorship or sole proprietorship type of business. There is the other business we normally call partnership kind of business. A partnership kind of business has more than one person. So you are partnering. There is another business we normally call limited company. Private could be limited, private limited company, or could be public limited company. But most of the time, we normally either form sole proprietorship or private limited company, limited by what we call liabilities. When we talk about limited kind of business, in simple terms, let me explain that kind of business. A limited company, there is nobody who can take you as creator to the let's say, for example, to the Supreme Court, to the judiciary, or to any other court saying that you did not pay them. A limited company, it has we normally call it what? There is a name we normally call it. We say like it's like you cannot take the owners to the what? Either to the magistrate, to the court. You cannot take them. You can only take the company, not the owners, because it is limited by what you call liability. It is a company on its own. But when it comes to sole proprietorship, you can take the owner of that business because it is not limited. The other one is limited company. So whenever you see a business name ending with limited or LTD, you cannot take that person to the court. You can only sue the business, but not the owner of the business. So we may have such kind of business. So when you click the arrow pointing downwards, you may see that we have number one, sole proprietorship. We have partnership or LLP. We may have single member form. We may have multiple member. We have corporations such as KCC. We have state corporations. We have NGOs, non-profit, and we may have another category. So depending on where your business falls, if it is owned by one person, should be number one. If the business has partners, could be limited kind of partnership. You may have that one. Single member limited company, you may have that. Multiple member, we may have that. And so forth. So we'll pick. We can have this. We can pick that one, single member, or we may have multiple member. We may pick that one. Then the employer identification number. We really don't have employer identification number. What I'm going to tell you is that this system is from UK, the system that we are using. So you may find that some of the items that we have here may not apply in Kenya, but majority of the items that we have here normally apply in Kenya. So we have multiple member because this is a limited company. Remember, this is a limited company. So you cannot sue us. You cannot sue Erex Product Kenya. So it's supposed to be Erex Product Kenya Limited. That is how it's supposed to read. It's supposed to read like that. Then the address, you can put them there. Let me say, for example, we are using 339. let's say Nairobi, Kenya. We have Nairobi, Kenya. We have Nairobi. We can actually put them here. City is Kenya. State, we don't have state in Kenya. We normally have counties, but we don't have states. Zip code, we normally use +254. You can use 254. It's not a must to fill those details. Are we moving on together?
Yes.
Very good. So we move on. Now we can add the country. We can check whether we have our country here. Let's say all of us are from Kenya, and check whether we have Kenya in the list. So Kenya is not in the list, as you can be able to see. So we can put it under other, 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 because it is not in the list. So the next part is phone number. We can have our phone number here. We can start +254 +254 728. Let me put my number 981. Let's say that is it. So this is what I'm doing here, and I want you to get it right, is that I'm now adding the liquid part of the eggshell, because the company cannot work with a shell. The company must have what you call the liquid part. So once you are through with filling in this, then you can move and create now a company. It is now creating what you call a company. So we are supposed to give it time to create a company. So it must complete that bar. So we give it time, still loading. You are all set. You are all set. What does it mean? We now have a company. So without that, the company cannot work without what I've said. So that way, you can now be able to see that we have what? We have some items. We have various items on the screen. At the top here, we have the name of the company. It's called Rex Products Kenya Limited. So that is the name of the company. That is the name of the company. Now, that is the easiest way to create a company. It is the easiest way to create a company. I don't want to show you the other method of creating a company today, because I want to take you through the portal so that you can be able to see, or you can be able to know how to download the materials. So there is this notification that is coming here. Don't get curious to know what they mean by acting now. When you say acting now, you'll be able now to deactivate your system. So please do not click this once you install your program. This one is telling you act now. Please do not act. Just leave it. Just leave it the way it is. So this is now what you call the interface for the QB or QuickBooks. And you can be able to see we have the vendors. The vendors are simply the suppliers. We have how we enter the bills. Remember when we are doing the course outline, I've taken you through the bills, how we pay the bills. There are some items that are missing here, but I'm going to show you later when we create through the other advanced method, because we'll be able to customize it based on the needs of the business. Remember, we have talked about quotation, the estimates. So once you create the estimate, there's something that is supposed to be here. That is purchase order. There is receiving the items, which is not there. There is the invoice. I've talked about the invoice. There is time when the invoice was created, the statement charges. When you go to the bank to request for the statement, sometimes if you want a physical statement, physical bank statement, they will actually charge you some money. But nowadays, if you request for a soft copy, they are not charging the soft copy of your bank statement. So those are the charges. Then all the transactions that you have made in the bank, we can be able to print it from this point. That is the statement. Remember, we talked about receiving payments. So we are going to look at it practically how we do that. Then remember, we said when we make sales on cash, we must create a receipt. So we do that. Then once we receive payment, where do we take the money? Do we keep it under the mattresses? So there is somewhere we normally record the deposit. Then we look at now the banking part, where we have reconciliation. How do we reconcile? How do we match transaction in our QuickBooks against the bank statement? Because the directors of the organization or the person who is responsible will bring what you call a statement to the accountant. Then the accountant can now be able to reconcile what is in the QB or QuickBooks against the statement of the bank, because they are supposed to rhyme or to get reconciled. We have check register. Whenever you want to check the amount of money that you have in the bank, we definitely look at it from this point. And I'll show you how we do that. Then we talk about checks. Uh, so anything that you record doesn't have what you call the bills, or those expenses that doesn't require that you record the bills, we will always get them from this particular point. We don't have need to upgrade this because we're already using the it's not an old version, it's a new version as well, even though it is for 2016, but it doesn't have to or we can't say that it has much difference with the 2019. Then there is the order. How do we check orders for the checks? I talked about the items. How do you record the items when you purchase items for the business? How do you record them? Items and service. There is the other part for the charts of account. Remember, I say that any transaction that you make in the business, it must be attached to a certain account. It must have an account. So you look at that. That falls under the company. Here we have banking. Here we have the vendors. We have the customers. So when you click here, what do you get? We'll see what we get when we click here, because it will take us directly to what we call the customer center. And apart from that, we have the shortcuts here. If you want to go to the company, the income tracker, if there is a bill, for example, you're supposed to pay your electricity or your power at the end of the month. Let's say, for example, date 28. Let's say there is a deadline. If you are paying the Kenya Revenue Authority, let's say you are paying for the pay as you earn, which is supposed to be paid by date 9. So you can track that bill here because it is a bill. So if you don't want to forget, QuickBooks can always track your bill here. Then customers snapshot is just what is going to show you in summary what you have in the system. You can be able to view the balances there. Then at the top here, you can see that we have various tabs. We are going to look at what we have in this tab or under this tab. There is edit tab, there is the view tab, there is the list tab, there is the company tab, there is the customer tab, there is a vendors tab, we have employees tab, we have banking tabs, we have the report. So once you click, you will be able to see the drop down has so many items, and each and every item you can be able to see it has so many reports. So we look at various reports that I was talking about. So we'll definitely focus on the reports, banking, employees, vendors, customers, company. This one is very crucial to us. Lists. This one not so much. Edit, yes. We're also going to look at that tab we call edit. And once we go through what I've shown you, I will comfortably say that you are now competent or equipped to work with this program. Then once we are through with this, we move now to the other part of the other program we call Sage Accounting. So that is what I wanted to say tonight, because I don't want to go into deep details about this because we may not complete it. And we are supposed to go back again and create another company account. So we'll create a new company account through the file so that it can take us now to the advanced part. Remember, we have created a company called RX Product Limited using this part here. Now we'll go to advanced part. So we'll go to advanced setup. I don't want to start the advanced setup because it normally takes time. And I can see we have 9 minutes to 10, and I want to take you through the portal and how you can be able to access the materials through the portal. But when we meet, that is next week on Monday, we are going to start. We are going to hit the ground running because we start with this one. It's like an interview here. The advanced part requires that you fill questions so that you can be able now to customize the shell or the company the way you want. The other one was express because it doesn't have questions. This one requires that we fill or we customize it based on the need of the organization. So we look at this, we can give it a project name so that we can be able to see how we work with it. I don't want to start that, so I will cancel that. I will cancel that.